Hi, so here I am with Nikki from Promise Dreams discussing everything they do, what they'd like extra support with. So I guess start off by telling us a bit about Promise Dreams and what you stand for.
Okay, yeah, thank you, David. Yes, so Promise Dreams was established in 2001 to make dreams come true for seriously ill and terminally ill children. Um, so since that time, we've actually raised probably just over £3 million, and almost 2,000 children have had their dreams come true.
Yeah, I knew you'd raised a lot of money, but three
Yeah.
million, yeah, that's a lot
So,
more than I was expecting. And I guess what of those dreams ranged from? What's the
yeah,
most
okay.
bizarre and exciting you've done, really?
Yeah, dreams can be anything. I mean, a child's imagination, but they go from meeting their heroes, meeting celebrities, footballers, a lot of dream holidays, as you can imagine, a lot of requests to go to Disney, Disneyland being the most popular one, but also through to specialized equipment. So, not always the treats that people expect them to be, but sometimes it's specialist equipment, specialist baths, house renovations, making the garden accessible. So sometimes things that just make family life a little bit more easier for the parents and the siblings and the child themselves.
Yeah, when you put it that way, it's definitely not what I would envisage
No?
as a dream. They're the
Yeah.
essentials that you'd, I guess, expect people to be provided with when
Mm.
their child's
Yeah.
needs it, really.
Because what you forget sometimes is, depending on the life expectancy of the child, parents do have to give up their employment. If you're told your child's only got 12 months to live, you want to be with that child, don't you? So a lot of parents do actually have to go through terrible financial situations because either one of them or both of them have had to give up their job for a while to care for that child. So you may have other siblings at home that one parent's caring for while the other one's taking turns at hospital. So there's lots of implications that you don't actually think about at the time.
It is the stuff that you don't think about, isn't it? I remember I did some work for Acorns in the past, and I can't remember the percentage, but it was a ridiculously high stat of families split up due to the
Yeah, not
kind of
surprised.
pressure and how much time the ill child absorbs
Yeah.
and the balance of trying to, particularly with other siblings involved
Mm.
and family members. So, yeah, I guess when people see Promised Dreams, we do think it's all fancy
Treats. Yeah.
destinations
It
and
isn't. No. And sometimes they're very basic holidays that they want. A lot of the children are too poorly to fly, and you forget that as well. You know, if
yeah,
they're hooked up to oxygen or they've got a brain tumor or something like that, we have to get medical letters. And if they're unfit to fly, then they might be asking for a simple caravan holiday, which, some people might take that for granted, but they just want a few days away without hospitals, without nurses, without medication, just to have a little bit time together. So not always the great big treats that people do think about. Medicine cabinets is another one, which you think, well, that's not a luxury at all. But if they're on sort of limited funding or limited financial situation, and they've got a disabled or poorly child on a lot of medication, got a lot of medical equipment, and they want to keep the house tidy, they might want a set of wardrobes or they might want a big cupboard. And, they can't afford it, some people. Push chairs sometimes as well, or covers for the push chair so they can take the child out in the rain. Um,
yeah,
yeah,
because
it's a
it's
lot
the
bigger.
specialist equipment that's so expensive, isn't it? If
Yeah, yeah,
not, it's not the price of a bog standard pushchair to
no.
that they need.
And sort of basic wheelchairs will be provided. But if you're an 11-year-old boy who wants to go in the park with his friends or his brothers and he's only got a very basic wheelchair, he isn't going to be able to go. So they ask for specialised trikes or specialised wheelchairs, but they're very, very expensive. So we can only contribute partly towards those dreams.
What would the average one of them that you have requested cost then?
Yeah, probably about 12 to 15,000,
Jesus.
because they're measured and fitted for that child. And then, of course, as the child grows, they outgrow that bike as well. but it just allows them that bit more independence to go out with their friends, go on the beach on holiday. How often, you can't hardly get a pram through sand. Can you imagine trying to get a wheelchair through? So they want sort of special terrain wheelchairs, but it's not special, is it really? It's just enabling them to go out and be with their friends or their brothers and sisters,
Just yeah, to just lead a
just to be a child.
totally normal life.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get the one with the beach. My father-in-law was in a wheelchair, and
Yeah.
we always took him down about as far as the end of the ramp onto the
Yeah.
beach.
Yeah.
Further, you just couldn't move the wheelchair that he was provided with. So,
No, so
yeah,
you know what I mean.
I mean,
Yeah.
obviously he was a lot heavier than a child, but I
Mhm.
get the point. And the more complex their needs, the more complex
Yeah.
wheelchair and support they need.
And we look after children, including the age of 18 as well. They're
Oh,
turning
that
into an adult. So we do from a baby, which no other charities actually do. A lot of charities will only start helping when the child is 3 years old. But because we try to help families and siblings as well, we do help babies because that could be memory making experiences. The baby might not remember that they went to a caravan, but the family and the brothers and sisters will remember the last holiday they had. Um, and then we do up to 18, as I said. So that is the size of an adult as well. Mm.
particularly, we all grow differently, don't we? Some people are
Yeah,
giants. A lot of people have a photo next to make me look rather
yeah,
short. But yeah, it's only when I speak to people like yourselves and I realise, and you sit there and you go, God, a lot of people have it really quite tough,
yeah,
don't they?
we do. And
And
until
just
you're dealing with it, yeah, you don't realise the other implications and how it affects brothers and sisters. Mom's at the hospital all the time with the little baby, and there's a 3-year-old brother at home who's missing his mummy. But what can mom do? She's at the hospital with the tiny little baby. It's until you sort of delve into it a little bit more, there's a lot that we just take for granted and don't realise goes on.
as I've said to you many times, thank God people like you
Mm.
are out there looking after them because life's horrible to people at times, isn't it? I think we all forget how lucky we have it. Just down to health, you dealt the cards you get, and
And we all sort of moan a little bit, don't we? But working for this charity makes me put things into perspective. We have a little moan about something, but it's nothing compared to, some of the challenges that these families face. And we just want to try and create a bit of happiness and a bit of specialness and magic for them and make them smile, make the children smile, make them have a little bit of happiness at these terrible times. And that's all we're
oh,
trying to do.
and I can only imagine the kind of difficulty of your job at times, and sometimes the emotional stories you must hear would be
Mm.
really tough to take. But the pride and joy you must get out of when you pull something off that you don't think's
Yeah.
possible. Like some of these requests you've had for a message from a celebrity or a
Yes. Yeah.
footballer or backstage
Mm.
tickets. This, when you pull one of them off, you must just be so
Yeah,
proud, really.
definitely. But that's only through the support of people helping us because we haven't got a phone list of all these famous people, obviously. So we're putting it out on social media, reaching out to people like you to reach to your contacts. And it's through social awareness, Facebook and what have you, that we're able to create these. And it's everybody coming to help us. So it's through supporters that we can get those dreams done, and that's why we keep needing to spread the word. And like you said, they are special dreams, those ones, aren't they? Don't cost us anything, just cost us time.
I think that would be my message to people on that one is you never know who you know
Yeah,
and
yeah,
who they know.
exactly.
I think there was one you was looking for before with the Lionesses, and
Yes.
little did I know someone I knew had a
Yeah,
relationship with the head groundskeeper at the England
yeah,
training, and then
yeah,
right there end up with a video.
we did.
I would never have thought, right, I'll give
No,
Pete a call. He's guaranteed to know them. But yeah, the more and more people can share these
it
things
is,
for
yeah.
you, and it costs nothing. It
It
costs nothing
doesn't.
to share
No.
a post on LinkedIn and
Yeah.
or drop it in your WhatsApp with your friends amongst all the random jokes you all send each other and see if anyone knows
Yeah.
them.
So many people want to help, and it makes you feel nice helping people. People naturally want to be good and kind to other people, and by saying, "Oh, we want to help you," and it's making them feel good as well, which is what the whole world's about, isn't it? Let's all be kind and let's help each other and help the less fortunate or the ones that are in a struggling situation at the moment.
We deal with a variety of charities, but because of the very nature of what you do, it does get you a bit more
Yeah.
emotionally involved. It does.
Mm.
I talk to you guys and hear a story, and then I go home and do something with my kids
I
and
know.
go,
Yeah.
okay. Basically, usually costs me money if I talk to you because I've had
Yeah.
bad afterwards and
Yes. Yeah.
after. That's also why I wanted you to do this, because I think if more people hear what you do,
Yeah.
surely the amount of supporters you'll have, and if everyone just raised 50 quid or 100 quid for you,
Exactly.
what
Yeah.
a difference it could make.
Yeah. No, lots of people doing a little bit would help.
Yep.
It hasn't got to be people giving us thousands and thousands. Sharing the word, raising awareness. I mean, we do need funds. That's what our aim is all the time, to raise funds. But there's different ways to get those funds. And, we're currently doing an appeal to try and get companies to partner with us. Companies can raise funds either through direct donations, monthly donations, one off, motivating their staff, team morale, organising sponsored events, and all sorts of things that will benefit the company as well and benefit the staff. So it's a win-win situation, really.
I know our staff always like knowing the story of the
Yeah.
dream we supported that year, and knowing that whether it be their dress down money or another event we did, what it went towards. I mean,
Mm.
obviously you've raised 3 million and that's a ridiculous amount of money. But normally in a year, how many dreams do
Yeah.
you aim to grant?
Okay, so last year we did 88 dreams.
Okay.
The year before we did 83, and we've only been back sort of operationally for the past 3 years since COVID, just with 2 members of staff now. And to be honest, we didn't know whether 88 was good or not. We just kind of keep going, and as many come in, and as long as we've got the money for them, we keep going. But people have said that is a lot of dreams. And I suppose it is when you look at it like that. That's 88 children we've made a difference to. Um, so, yeah, as I said, compared to bigger charities, that probably isn't a lot, but we haven't got the profile and we haven't got the financial situations of some of the big charities. So I think for 2 people, we definitely are proud of it. Not we ought to be, we are. Yeah.
No, that's, you've definitely changed the lives of 88 families
Yeah.
last year. Even if you've just put them in a bubble for
Yeah. Yeah.
24, 48
Mm,
hours and created a
yeah.
world away from the sad reality they're facing. But I guess there must be just a lot of dreams you can't support because there's only
But
two of
yeah.
you and there's only so
Yeah.
much money.
So, I mean, we always say we want to do more because that's the way well, our aim is to help as many as we can. So if we've done 88, of course, we want to do better than that, don't we? We want
Yeah.
to do more than 88, but we've obviously got to get the funding in as well. So we don't get grants or anything, as you know. It is purely people like yourself and kind individuals and companies that support us. Our own annual ball in November, we make significant funds then that take us into next year. But it's always this time of the year, halfway through, we've used those funds and we're not going to get any more in until November now. So we have to have lots of other things going on. But there's so many children out there that want to be, numerous requests coming in each week. That's never going to slow down. We're never not going to have any children. So we just have to keep that circle of fundraising going.
Yeah, I know it's probably impossible to put a number on it, but just how many outstanding wishes would you say you currently have? Whether that's
Yeah.
from a practical item of a medical cabinet through to
Yeah.
Disneyland, how many
We've
you were?
probably got about 30 at the moment, I would say. So that's dreams that have come in. They go through all our checking and processing. So then they get approved by the trustees. So there's probably 30 at the moment that are approved and are at various stages of being completed. So some of them may be approved now, but they don't want to go on holiday until next summer. So they have 18 months to use that funding. And that actually helps if they're having treatment now and their treatment's expected to finish in 12 months, for example.
Oh, okay.
So holidays we can roll forward. Dreams, like if they wanted a laptop or a cabinet, as soon as that's approved, Vicky, who does all our dreams, as you know, she can be on the phone and ordering that. So those dreams happen and they're paid for quite quickly. But holiday and Disney, they only open at certain times in the year for booking. So for going to Disney next April, the booking doesn't open until September this year. So we'll be very busy in September booking all next year's Disney holidays.
Because it's mainly Paris, I presume you do, because
Yes.
of
Yeah.
just cost and distance.
Yeah, we can only give a maximum anyway. So if a family did want to go to Florida, we would only be able to give the maximum amount that we can anyway, and then they would have to fund the rest. But we normally find we can cover a family for a weekend in Disney without them having to put anything to it.
Which is such a great experience away from
Yes.
reality, isn't it? Because that's what Disney is, isn't it?
Yeah.
You go in and their whole philosophy is you enter that bubble and you're on a film set. That's
Yeah.
supposed to be
And
how
it
you meet.
is, it's magic, isn't it? And these little children, they want some real magic, and a lot of people can't afford to go to Disney themselves. And that's not because they're poor or it's just circumstances. But do you remember we put something out a few months ago and you reached out to us again? We'd got 17 children that want to go to Disney. And they're all coming up all next year. So we've got to raise all that money for those children.
Yeah, and that's what our football's for in
Yeah,
September is
exactly.
the aim being we get enough teams to raise £2,000 and pay for
Yeah.
someone's trip to Disney. I have challenged the team to get enough that we could pay for two dreams,
I
but
know, I've seen
we
that.
are
That's one.
we
Yeah.
are struggling for teams at the minute. So anyone listening who plays football,
Mm,
help us make a dream come true. But yeah, just to loop back on something you mentioned a minute ago. You mentioned the vetting process for wishes, and
mm.
I guess that's the sad side of the job sometimes is checking that it is a legitimate
Yeah.
claim. What do you guys have to do to kind of make yourselves feel comfortable?
Yeah, okay. So we get a detailed application form in, and we always ask for 2 letters of support as well. So one must be from the most senior medical person looking after that child. So we realise that it might not always be the consultant that can do it because of, NHS cuts and what have you. So the most senior medical professional. So that will confirm the condition of the child and how it affects them on a daily basis and sort of the prognosis. And then we ask for another letter of support, which could be from a social worker or a nurse or the school if they're at a special school. And that's really supporting the dream. So why does that child and why does that family deserve that dream? So once we're satisfied that they are seriously or terminally ill, we can then start looking at what they want. Vicky checks everything, then it comes to me, and then it goes to the trustees after that. So it goes through 3 stages. And we do have to say no to some people if they don't meet the criteria, which unfortunately we have to be strict because there are so many seriously ill and terminally ill children, and they do have to be receiving treatment still. So if it's for cancer or leukemia, they do have to be undergoing treatment at the moment, which again is why we extend it for 18 months, because they might not be well enough to go whilst they're on treatment, but they need to apply for the dream while they're having treatment.
Yeah, mate, and that makes sense.
Yeah.
I just wanted you to kind of explain that so people understand that, you don't just ask for some money and you get a
No,
dream funded.
no.
The people's donations are kind of
Yeah.
treated very seriously and the money's spent in the best place possible. People do worry, don't they? When I talk to a lot of people about charity, they have fears about how their
Where's the
money
money
gets spent,
going? Yeah.
how much of it gets to a good cause, how much of it goes into costs. And,
Yeah.
I know you've covered already your costs to charity are minimal, really. There's only
Yeah.
the two of you,
It's
and
only two of us, yeah. So we always said from the beginning, the trustees, when they set the charity up, one of the reasons was to be transparent and to make sure as much of the money as possible went towards the children, which is what we still do. Yes, we probably could do with more staff, but that would mean more salaries. And if we're managing at the moment and putting in the extra hours as and when necessary, which we don't mind, we're saving more overheads, aren't we? So that money is going. And if people are giving us money and working hard to raise the funds, they want it to go to the right place. And, we're careful as well with what other dreams or requests have children had previously. Because if they've already been to Disney and we've got little Mary sitting here who's never been at all, we're going to give our funding to the one that hasn't been at all.
yeah,
So, you know,
it must be a strange feeling sometimes that you're kind of playing God really with those wishes, but someone's got to do it, haven't they? Someone's got to
yeah.
do the balancing act and work out who deserves it more from the finite amount of cash you've got. I'm
Yeah,
sure
if
if
it,
you had lottery funding and a
just
load of
about,
money,
yeah. If it was a bottomless pit, we'd help all of them, wouldn't we? But we have to think, well, we've got that much money at the moment and we've got that many dreams. Who needs it more? So obviously somebody who's terminal or hasn't got long left, we do fast track dreams. So we would do those first. It doesn't mean we won't help the others. It might mean they have to wait a few more months before we can confirm we can, just depending on what funding comes in the meantime.
where does most of, I know obviously your charity night raises a lot of money, but where does most of your day-to-day funding come from?
Yes, so we've got companies that we are their chosen charity, which is wonderful. So we've got some companies that give us a certain amount each month, so that's lovely because we know that money's coming in. We get companies like yourself that throughout the year make one-off or two-off donations, some annually, some just once, which is fine. We get companies that organise their own sponsored events. So we've got a new company this year which is doing a golf day for us in September.
Very nice.
So they're known for raising, quite a bit of money. We've got another company who supported us for years. One of their members of staff is doing a trek around Cambodia for us in November.
Nice.
So that's on target. Even giving us prizes for our auction or our raffle at our ball, because we can then sell those and auction those.
Yeah.
But we're kind of reaching out to people all the time, and then people will come to us when they're ready. Sometimes they're not in the position to do it at that time, and they'll come back to us a year later and go, we can give you a donation of our profits, or we are going to do this for you. But we're not pushy, we're not salespeople, we're not on the phone all the time. If people will help when they want to, and we understand that.
I guess that's where probably the last 18 months, 2 years, businesses have had a bit of a tougher time. You must
Yeah.
have found it slightly harder to get donations, or the amounts certain companies can give you must have dropped a little bit.
Yes, sometimes it'll dip down in one area and then come back in another area, but we just have to keep getting the message out. And since COVID times, individuals as well as companies have obviously struggled. But there are tax benefits, as you probably know, of companies donating to us as well. We are trying to get that message out that, help a good cause and try and reduce your tax bill as well. And that benefits both.
Yeah, the gross amount's not the same as the net
Yeah.
amount. Every charity I'm speaking to is saying that the last 12 months in particular has been quite tough in
Yeah.
terms of collecting donations. So I
Mm.
just thought I'd ask, are you suffering
Yeah.
the same, really?
Yes, yeah, we've got some good supporters that have been with us all along, and then we just keep trying to get new supporters, to be honest. So it's and sort of when we have the ball, we'll sell a table of 10, and then we'll try and work on those people to see if they want a table themselves. So we
Yeah.
just keep trying to expand all the time.
That's how we got introduced to you, not via the ball, but one of our customers
Yes.
does work for you every year. And then you naturally look and go, who is that charity they're supporting? And then you learn a bit more and go, oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
We probably should add them to our list, as the phrase
Exactly.
goes there. So,
And now look how much you do for us. Yeah. Just by
I know
talking to
it's
me
been
today.
expensive being introduced to you.
Yeah.
But no, I have to say, I have great admiration for the work you and Vicky do. And I know you put a lot of time into it, a lot of love into it. I've had numerous messages on weekends and stuff off the two of you over a period of time where you're trying to get a dream sorted for someone and you just need little bits of help with stuff. So, you know, I have to say, fair play. Not everyone works as hard as you guys do in getting these things done. So, you know,
We're very lucky to have jobs that we are passionate about and love. It's a big part of my life, Promise Dreams is. You know, I started with them at the beginning 24 years ago, left and came back. And I just think Promise Dreams all the time. When I'm out, I'm like thinking, oh, can they help? I'm talking to people all the time. So it is a passion rather than just a job. And I know Vicky feels the same, you know, and she's fantastic at doing the dreams, always makes them very special and that, you know, bit of personal care. And that's because there's two of us, we can keep it like that. So there are benefits to being small as
you
well.
bounce well off each other as well, don't you,
Yeah.
as a duo, to be honest.
Yes, no, that's good to hear. We work very well as a team.
No, it's always good when we come see you guys because you feel it's not just a job. You feel the passion and love for it. So, you know, as when we go and meet charities that we're going to support, you know, I'm not going to lie that we come away from some and we do feel a bit underwhelmed, and you know, it's why we have a call list of charities that we support each year, and then we're always exploring, looking at new ones, really, because not all of them are. Some of them it is.
No.
You know, I don't understand it is a job, but that's when you're supporting it, you want to support someone who truly loves what they're doing, really.
In what we're doing, you know, we feel passionate about the children and the families we're helping, so we always do want to do that bit more if we can.
Other than the charity night that you've got planned, is there anything else you'd like people to get behind at the moment? What's your fundraising campaign at the moment that people could chuck a few quid into to help you?
Yeah, well, our ball in November is our annual fundraising event, so that's the only big event that we personally organise ourselves, because we haven't got time to organise another one, and also we'd be asking the same people all the time, so it would just dilute the funds, wouldn't it, really? If people do want to help, just make a donation. If you want to come to the ball, fine. If you want to get involved in sponsoring the ball, you know, that will give you promotion and advertising for your company, marketing as well. Or if you want to partner with the charity, we can work with you and help promote companies and what have you. But it is really all just about fundraising. We can give you a child that you might want to do that dream for, so you can follow it through and, you know, pictures and see them on their dream and what have you.
Yeah, and kind of get involved with the story. In terms of anyone that just Joe Public that wants to donate 20, 30, 40 pounds, is there just an option to do that straight on your website if they
go onto the website? We've got a new video on there. I don't know if you've seen that. So we've got a video on the front page now, me and Vicky talking, and also telling the story of Hallie, who's a very special little girl that we helped. But yes, there's donation buttons on there. There's also stories of other children that we've helped, and that's where the families go to get their application forms as well. But yes, by all means, donate on the website. If you want to donate via Just Giving, we obviously get gift aid if you do it that way, if you're an individual. Or the way that I suppose is the simplest, in that we don't pay any fees, is phone us and ask for our bank details, make a direct payment, and then we're not paying any fees through other platforms and what have you. But donating on the website is very easy. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and that's what people want, isn't it? Just
Yep,
the
yep.
ease of doing it, simplest way, feels trusted. I've heard of some great dreams you guys have pulled off over a period of time. The one that really I liked last year was the Christmas that you did early.
Yes, Layla, she was 12, wasn't she? Yeah. And yeah, she wasn't expected to make it to Christmas, so we did Christmas for her in October. That was very special. Yes, that was quite an emotional one. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember the story of you hiring a big
How?
property for her and her family and getting a load of carol singers and Santa
Yes.
and the Grinch. And, I have to say that was quite an emotional one. And I was nothing to do with it. And I just thought,
Yeah.
wow, that child is not going to make it to Christmas. But you've
No.
really gave that family a last
Yeah.
Christmas that they wouldn't have got, really.
Yeah. And yeah, it was very special that. Yeah.
And I
We
just,
just did one last week, sorry, just to interrupt you. A little girl who's been in hospital for the past 9 months in intensive care. And it was her 12th birthday, and she was expected to come out to have a birthday at home, but too poorly to come out. So we took a birthday party to Birmingham Children's Hospital. So there was a special little room there that we had, and she loves George Ezra. So we got he wasn't a George Ezra singer, but he was an acoustic singer that could sing George Ezra songs. And he went in and sang for her, and we decorated the whole room, and that was very special as well. So it's
yeah. And I
sometimes
think
something
it's,
simple.
yeah, and the reason I brought the other one up is I want people to understand that, it's not just the kind of off the shelf dreams you make come
Yes.
true. 'Cause
Yeah.
not that a dream of going to Disneyland Paris isn't important and work doesn't go into that, but in theory, anyone could go to a travel
Yeah.
agent and book that. But some of the work that you guys do to build the
Yes.
engagement, whether it be wrapping the presents for, I think
Yeah.
I spoke to Vicky and she just finished wrapping all the presents for that Christmas,
Yes. For
and
that. Yes. Exactly. But that
it's all
was.
those little
Yeah.
things that have to go in to make it reality.
And people were so kind ordering presents and sending them. But yeah, we forgot about at the other end, we'd got to wrap them all. But yeah, there we were wrapping all the presents, and somebody had made a Christmas cake, and we booked caterers to come in, and they did all that. And like you mentioned, the carol singers, I think that touched the family a lot. They didn't know it was happening, and they were just called out into the back garden, and there was about 40 people sing, and even the choir said how emotional it was. Yeah.
I can imagine and yeah, I just wanted to include that story because I think it's those type of ones that make me, yeah, really
Yeah.
love you guys as a charity, really, because
Oh,
it's the effort. It's not,
yes.
it's not give us your money and we'll call the travel agent. You actually design something for that
Yeah.
child. And
Vicky loves doing those because she's very creative and very caring, and she loves putting that bit of extra something into it. And the little family as well that went to the safari park because they wanted to be with the elephants, and
yeah,
Vicky created a hamper that was full of elephant things and elephant pajamas and elephant toys, and it's all those special little touches that the family will remember. Mm.
yeah, yeah, no, it really is. I don't know whether Vicky passed it on, but when I spoke to her recently, we've changed the event we're doing this Christmas. We're
Oh yeah.
doing, we usually do the cinema. We're doing pantomime. So
Oh
we've booked 80 odd seats at pantomime in Bromsgrove. What we wanted to do is, if you've got any families that would want that, whether that be families you've supported before that now, unfortunately, but they would like to do something nice with the other sibling or something like that,
yes. Yeah.
and then let us know and we'll certainly put some of them tickets
Oh,
aside because it might only be a pantomime, but putting a smile on their face for a few
yes.
hours
Yeah.
and they'll meet the cast and everything afterwards.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah, the theatre putting on the performance have been really good, to be honest, with
Yeah.
arranging it for us. So we'll need to sort out some numbers that you might want for that, really. But
Yes, brilliant. Thank you. That'd be lovely. Yeah. Yeah.
we do, yeah, do try and find something that kind of
Yeah.
cheers up those tougher times, to be honest.
Because we do try to keep in touch with families, particularly when they have lost a child whose dream we've made come true. And we can't do it all the time. And some don't want to keep in touch, but some, off their own bat, keep in touch with us. And there was one family I particularly remember who lost their little baby boy, and then she had a baby girl a year later and contacted us to say, oh, we've got a baby girl now. And that's lovely that, you know, they still remember the dream we did for their baby boy, and now they've had another edition and they want to keep in touch. So like you said, even for ones that have perhaps lost a sibling and want to go and be happy at Christmas.
Yeah, it's just sometimes it's that little respite from normality, isn't it? And in some cases, you'll have children you're helping that are well enough to go, and that's even better. Brilliant. We can sort out tickets for their family and they can go.
Yes, we'll work on that together. That's lovely. Thank you.
Is there anything else you'd like to say to people that we haven't covered about Promised Rooms?
I don't think so. I think I've tried to everything about the charity. You can tell I'm passionate and I love it. I well up and fill up all the time, as you know. People will help because they want to help. We understand that your business comes first, their lives come first, and people will help when they want to. But yeah, we are always trying to fundraise, is the honest answer, so that we can keep helping these children. We can't do it on our own. We can facilitate it, but we have to work hard to get the money, and it's only through very generous, kind supporters that these dreams are actually coming true. Also, come along to our ball in November. You'll have a fantastic evening held at the Grand Station in Wolverhampton, so you can look on the website for details or contact us. But that's a lovely opportunity to sort of see where we've spent the money and raise more money to take us into next year. So always full of fun and laughter, but always full of tears and emotion as well. This year we've got a lovely video and the parents are actually coming to that one, so I can't say too much about that dream, but the parents are coming to the ball, so that's very special for us all. But people do remember our balls. They're fun, they're emotional, but they're passionate. Everybody comes year after year and we just want to expand that.
Yeah,
So
I never seem to be available when it's on, but it is.
I know.
I have heard it's good. I'm kind of worried though. You just show ours up that's in September, to be honest.
No, we've probably just got supporters that have been with us for longer. So we sort of can, you know, go. But next year is 25 years. So we're already thinking of what we're going to do for our ball next year to celebrate 25 years of the charity.
That's a big milestone, isn't it?
Yeah.
And for anyone watching, in terms of helping us with fundraising for you, so we've got the football tournament at the start of September. Get involved, and soon details will be announced for a 5 and 10k run, which is going to be held early part of next year. Just firming up the venue, so I won't say where it's held, even though I'm 95% sure there.
Yeah.
But I just need to go and view and check the logistics work fine. But let's make that into a day that pays for dreams, and let's expand that over the coming years. And with the aim being for that event, for it to raise 20k in a few years' time and hopefully pay for 10 dreams is the plan.
That would be
hung up the running boots, but I will come out for that 110k. You cope with that, just no further. But
that's brilliant.
So as soon as I'm meeting the venue next week. As long as that's all fine, I'll share those details with you and announce the date. And
what support you need from us for that, then we can make sure we're all there. And
fingers crossed. You know, the venue can hold up to 800 runners, so let's sell it out. That is the plan. So I know enough people who keep tagging me in posts where they're running ridiculous distances.
Yeah,
so you can definitely do 10k, guys. There's no excuses.
Get Vicky involved in that.
She's got no excuse. It's for her cause. So
exactly, she's got to do it.
No, thanks for coming on and chatting to me today. And
thank you.
We gain you some extra supporters.
Yes, no, you're wonderful, and we really, really do appreciate what you do for us, not just financially, just for the fact that you care. And, you know, that's lovely. We really do appreciate it, Davey.
Cheers, everyone, for watching, and we'll end it there.
Thank you.